Welcome, Craig. It is such a pleasure to have you here on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm absolutely amazing, and I'm honored to be here, Elizabeth. Thank you so much to
Me.
have me here, and I'm super excited for this conversation.
So am I. So am I. So good to have you here. Heard a lot of great stuff, read a lot of great stuff, so I cannot wait to dig in. And
I
so
I
first of
feel
all,
like we
I'm
already
just
know each
going
other
to
so well, by the way. Just just as
we
fate
won't
would
go
have
there.
it. Yeah, just you know.
Hey, it's been a couple months. So now let's talk about the big issue here before we get into what you are doing in harmony, all of that. Would love to find out in your perspective, what do you think is causing the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm that is going on in this world today?
Oh gosh, it's this life, this beautiful, incredible life that we've co-created together. And I say co-created this life because I'm not just talking about the life that I have created and you have created. I'm talking about this society that we have co-created, living here in the United States, and this culture that we have bred, and we're all responsible for it, and we have all watched it unfold. I was just sitting recollecting with a few friends last night after wrapping a photo shoot here at the house, and we were just talking about how life was so different when I was a kid, going to the library to do research versus now the power of infinity in your pocket and AI and Apple and intelligence and where all this is going. Um, Look, life is complicated. If you're a law-abiding citizen with a normal life, let's just take me for example. I'm a husband. I'm with my wife 15 years. I love her dearly. That relationship takes time and effort. I have a 4-year-old who I love dearly. I want to be a good father. That relationship takes a lot of time and energy. And I have a business that is growing and exploding, and a responsibility that I feel to humanity to talk about what we're talking about. And really, all three of those are full time jobs. That's before you get to the two vehicles that I have to maintain. They get dirty. They have to go to the car wash. I don't have an executive assistant. I don't have somebody helping me do day to day, which means I've got to go to the DMV here in the state of Nevada. They have to get smogged before I can just pay it online, right? Like life in general. The mail comes every day, and just opening the mail for me is 10 minutes a day of going through crap that I don't need to open. It's just a huge waste of time. So, this society that we have co created, just being a law abiding citizen, just doing all the things that you need to do day in and day out, chances are you have more to do in a day than you have time to do it. And that to me breeds anxiety. And that's before anything goes wrong. I was driving with my wife and my daughter yesterday to dinner, and I hit a curb, um, cracked a tire, right? So now I've got to deal with scheduling that. Lent my friend my truck, and he was trying to do the right thing, and he noticed one of the tires was low. He brought it into a Big O Tires to have the valve replaced. They did it. Backing out, they hit one of the mirrors. Okay, like they replaced it. They took care of it. Big O's amazing. Shout out to the great management team over there. But still, it took 3 months to get it right. Right. So like, and it's not just the cars, it's everything in life, right? My backyard, we've been working on the pool for a long time, the landscaping, that. There are too many things to do in a day. And that by itself, before anything goes wrong, breeds, in my opinion, anxiety and stress. And then you throw on top of that the fact that my daughter didn't want to sleep last night from 11:30 at night until 2:30 in the morning. Um, and I was negotiating with a 4-year-old on and teaching her the importance of sleep for both of us. Right? Like,
Right.
okay, so and look, the day
Yeah.
is still the day. That doesn't change. My work day doesn't change. Yes, I have lots of tools that can help me to get deep rest from 3 o'clock in the morning until 7 a.m. when a crew came here to my house after 2 days of shooting. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so just when everything's going right, there's a lot happening in this world, and there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of demands on our mind. There's a lot of demands on the body. There's a lot of demands on decision making. And look, that's before you even get into finding a mate and romance and dating. And I mean, look, the list goes on and on and on. It's different for everyone. And yet we all have this first person perspective on a life that is unfolding ever so beautifully, ever so complexly. And every single day it feels like there's more and more to do and less time to do it when we get the same 86,400 seconds every single day. And we've got to manage that, prioritize it, and figure out what's going to fit where. That's before you even start managing other people's schedules and how they're going to interact with you, so that we can schedule this podcast recording and we can both be at the same place at the same time. And life, I tell you, life. So I think we need tools to help us handle that. I think we need tools to show up better, to show up as the best versions of ourselves on the regular basis. And at the top of that list is self-care. Self-care is a broad bucket. And I'm excited to dive into stress and anxiety and the things that we can do to mitigate it.
Wow, I just got anxiety from just listening to
Yeah, look,
that.
and that's
No, but you're absolutely right, because it literally, I think that's everybody's life.
yeah,
You obviously, that's your personal what you're going through, but it paints the picture of every single person in this world, in this, maybe just this country. We don't know about other countries, but definitely in this country, we have a lot going on,
yeah,
and it just the list of to dos. And like you said, that's on a perfect day, right? Our to dos, like on a perfect day, it's like, okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. Oh, wait, this just went wrong. So, gotta, add another one. Or, I mean, I'm the same, with the cars. I just bought a new car, just being, personal myself. I just bought a new car. And I haven't had a new car in so long that I'm like, what do I like? Where do I go to? I went to some place to get my oil changed. They can't do it. So I'm like, okay, well now I got to go to the dealership. And so it was a lot of things
yeah,
that I was just like,
yeah,
on Friday, I was like, I was supposed to have this nice off day, or yeah, and then here
totally.
I am.
Yeah, totally.
you know?
Waiting on hold for customer service for a return, right?
Right. It's
then
just a lot.
these things
Yeah.
just happen, right?
Right. Right.
And it takes time. And we're all being thrown this rigmarole of challenges over the course of the day, and we all get to decide how we're going to show up in the face of this adversity, in the face of these challenges, in the face of expectations gone wrong. Oh, this will take me 5 minutes, no problem. An hour
Right.
later, and you're like, still can't see light at the end of the tunnel, and you're like,
You're getting red. You're like,
totally,
why am
right?
I here?
Right? Like the person in front of you at the checkout counter that put that put the wrong 4-digit code in their debit card 12 times in a
Oh
row,
yeah,
and you're like, dude, I'll just buy your groceries. Like,
right.
let me just put it on my tab.
Just
Let's go.
go.
Right? Like,
Let's just go.
dude, you're getting a freaking bottle of water. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
Let's go. We've all been
But
there.
no, I get it. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what you do. And I think that's also what I preach as well. And in essence, we, do in terms of stress management, right? These
Yes.
are things that tools, like you said, that we need to have in our lives, or to use and utilize in order to not only be productive, but to move through stressful situations and
Yeah.
anxiety such as this, and not blow up or not kill somebody.
Oh,
Because at the end of the day that might happen. And so, you know but I'm going to, skip a little bit in terms of what I read about you in
yeah.
terms of relaxation expert. So
Yeah.
what makes you a relaxation expert?
Oh, years of stress and anxiety. I mean, does
Okay.
that qualify me? Okay.
Sure.
Years of what I just explained to you.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was sitting with. I'm very blessed to be surrounded by some incredible human beings that help us in Harmony, and we've got a tremendous team of close to 35 people that help us to do everything that we do. Some are outsourced and 1099, that sort of thing, but it's a huge team that helps us get going what we're doing. Some really brilliant minds. And I was sitting down with a new team member a couple years ago, and we were talking about how to present myself and what to talk about with podcasts and this sort of thing, right? Exactly like the promo page that you saw and how we got booked in the first place. And I was sitting down with Rachel. She's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I was just kind of talking to her about like what we do and what I know and what my background is. And about halfway through, she was just tapping her pen and she was like, "You are a relaxation expert." And I was like, "Never really thought about it that way." She was like, "Really, you like just talking with you and sharing your ideas of what you're talking about. Yes, there's vibroacoustic therapy and there's sound and vibration, and there's an awful lot happening with the technology and the music meditations, and we'll unpack all of that." But she goes, "At the core, you're really about living a relaxed life and doing all of the things that are necessary for you to show up as cool, calm, and collected as possible, like the Fonz, for those of us that can remember back in the day. The Fonz was just
Mhm.
always cool. Everything was all right. It all just rolled off his shoulder like, it's fine. We'll figure it out. And that's very much the mentality that I try and have. I lived in New York City for 10 years. I grew up a New Yorker. I still wear that and carry that street cred, no doubt. New York is a pressure cooker. If you can make it there, you surely can make it anywhere. And it's not the only city around the world, by the way, that's like that. I've traveled to many cities that are like that. And there are many lives that we've talked about that are just like living in New York. And you can find that anywhere, on a small town, on a farm, or in a big city. And and I just figured these things out. I've had years of swallowing countless pints of alcohol and to try and I've done, you name it, I've tried it. And over the
Mhm.
last 10 years, it's really, or 12 years, it's really been a focus on understanding the body, biohacking, understanding our biochemistry, understanding herbs, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and putting together these 10 pillars to living a healthy life that all lead to a more relaxed state of being. And as we're going to talk about today, when with a little bit of knowledge and awareness, I think when we start to recognize and understand exactly what's happening biochemically and through the hormones and the chemical cascades in the body when we feel stress, and when we start to recognize and understand that the body only has one response to stress, doesn't matter what kind of stress that is. It can be physical stress, it can be mental, emotional, nutritional, relational, financial, doesn't matter. Any type of stress that we are presented with, the body has one response, and that is the sympathetic nervous system response. And this chemical cascade that happens behind that, that diverts energy from calm and relaxed maintenance tasks to what is really a survival mechanism and survival mode. And I think that's the most important aspect that gets lost, is that the sympathetic nervous system response, otherwise known as stress and anxiety, is really our survival mode. It's fight or flight. It is a mechanism that is designed to keep us alive. And when you and and look, some of this stuff just, it's just not that big of a deal, right? Like that guy in front of me
Yeah.
that's put in his, debit card wrong 10 times in a row, and I'm running a few minutes late. Like, it's just not that big of a deal. It's not life and death. Some of the stuff we deal with is life and death, no doubt. And there are certainly times where that survival mechanism is called for and welcomed and important. However, when there's construction on the 15 freeway that came out of nowhere, and I'm now going to be 10 minutes late, a quick text message to say, "Hey, I'm running a little bit late," is really all it takes, and you're good. But the body doesn't know that. That mental,
Right.
emotional, and physical stress that we feel is a survival mechanism. And when we're in that survival mode, the body changes the priority list dramatically, from maintenance tasks like killing off dead cells and digesting all of your food and having this kick-ass immune system and these reproductive organs that are firing on all cylinders. And it goes, no, 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 I don't need to divert my energy to digestion. I need to survive, because if this vessel is not here in the next 3 hours, I'm not going to have anything to digest. So that energy, divert that energy to survival. And that's when the cortisol and the adrenaline and all of these different things start to happen in the body. And the body starts to make these decisions for you that diverts energy from operating optimally to surviving. And that's great if it's for a couple hours in the afternoon because you've got a physical threat or you have something that really is calling your attention. It's not great if you're sitting in that survival mode, that fight or flight, day after day, week after week, month after month, and most of us are. And I was one of those people. I still am one of those people. I do a lot to mitigate and manage stress. And let me tell you, at 1:30 in the morning, when I'm debating with my daughter on why it's important for her to go to sleep, um, I was pretty frustrated, no doubt. And it took breath work, and it took grounding, and it took calming before I walked into my bedroom when she finally fell asleep. It took me to utilize some of the tools that I have to reset my nervous system, to calm and relax. It's interesting. I have all of my technology here in the house, and all of it is disconnected right now because a cleaning crew came in here today to clean up after the photo shoot, so none of the wires are out, right? Like, so
Right.
literally, I would have gotten on my sound lounge or my meditation cushion last night and just done 5-10 minute little tune up, and I didn't have that. So I went outside, put my feet in the grass, I did some quick breathing, and right, like got my feet in the salt water. Like, again, just doing the things to calm and relax and to reset the nervous system, because this is something that your body will do regularly. Your body is designed to figure out where the threats are. Your five senses and your brain are constantly looking out for these patterns, these negative patterns that can threaten your life. And the perception of those patterns is what creates this fight or flight response. It's not going away. And you don't want it to go away, frankly. If a car out front backfires and it might be a gunshot, you don't want to, I don't want to disengage the fight or flight mechanism. I instead
Yeah.
want to engage it and then disengage it as quickly as possible and train it or condition it not to be triggered quite as often or for the more mundane tasks. Right? A lot there to unpack.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A lot because it is up to us on how we approach these situations.
Yeah,
And yes, our first instinct, and you are right, stress, we need stress in our lives, regardless, like good stress, right? Good stress is either, presenting or, something that is basically like getting your adrenaline up, like you said.
yeah, hormesis, the
But
concept is
the,
hormesis, which
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, like you said, diffusing the chronic stress and how we could move through or at least approach those stressors in a more manageable way.
yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How did you do a lot of research? Did you ask people? How did you figure out, the grounding and the breathing and all of this? Is this something that you were just like you listen to podcasts? What is your mechanism for figuring all that out in the beginning? I know you did a lot of
All of
research
the
for what you do
right,
now.
all of the above. I'm a
Yeah.
lifelong learner. I think anybody
Yeah.
listening to this podcast is a lifelong learner. I think podcast
Of
is an
course.
incredible medium that we have today, and it's just to the point that I was making before of this conversation we're having last night. Access to information is unbelievably high for everybody, right? I mean, I use Starlink, even though I live in Las Vegas and I could get Cox or any, I still use Starlink. So people have internet now all over the world. Thanks, Elon. Like the world is at your fingertips. That's not just
Yeah.
podcasts. It's not just Google. It's not just a search engine. It's not just the websites of friends and family that I have now in the industry and technologists. It's retreats that I'm going on. It's events that I'm speaking at and then going to see the other speakers or bringing our technology to. Right, like in the beginning though, 12 years ago. Look, if 13 or 14 years ago, before I had this renaissance, if you will, if you asked me if I was living a healthy life, I would have told you I was living a healthy life. I was eating steak and vegetables, and now it wasn't grass fed, grass finished, right? Like I've evolved quite a bit. Tobacco is a big part of my life. Grew up in New York. Stimulants are a thing. Alcohol is a big part of my life. Um, but 12 years ago, my wife got sick, and modern medicine didn't have any answers. 6 months, test after test, doc after doc, specialist after specialist, everything came back negative. Nobody knew what was wrong with her. In the end, it was gluten. We removed gluten from her diet. Within 72 hours, all of her symptoms went away. It was remarkable. And all the doctors were, it's a miracle, it's remarkable. And my wife, even my wife didn't believe it. I was like, it's definitely gluten. And she's like, no, no. Dermatologist gave me this new cream and no, it can't be gluten. My wife is Mediterranean. She's originally from Turkey. And
Mhm.
She follows a Mediterranean diet, which has bulgur wheat and rice and right, like pasta. Like they're just eating a lot of gluten all the time, and she was having a reaction to it, and her body was telling her, "Hey, she had a lot of inflammation. Is the long and the short." And removing the gluten 100% removed it all. And my wife and I became enamored. So for the next 6 months after we gave up gluten and my wife got better, she kept getting better. I kept getting worse, and I had this low grade fever. I had mucus and a cough that wouldn't go away. I had these cold symptoms, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was laying in bed one morning and I was just Googling again, just to go back to how I was learning. I was Googling, immune response and gluten sensitivity because neither one of us tested positive for celiac.
Mhm.
But I couldn't figure out why, now that I gave up gluten 100%, I was feeling bad. And eventually we figured out that I was detoxing, and I was showing signs
Mm.
of detoxification for 9 months ultimately after I gave up gluten. And what we came up with is that my body was no longer distracted by the inflammatory response that gluten was causing, that it could operate the way that it was so brilliant designed to operate. And I had a lot of cleanup to do. So we gave up beer, started drinking. At the time we were drinking alcohol, gave up beer, started drinking gluten-free beer, right? Like we went 100%, made the switch. And it was a lot harder 12 years ago than it was today. A lot more gluten-free options today.
Yeah.
And nutrition is a whole other conversation. But I got tired of reading that research, and over and over and over again, genetically modified food was coming up. And I didn't know what a GMO was. Obviously, it's a much bigger conversation now and since the Obama years, but this was 2012, and we didn't really know what it was. So I found this documentary called Genetic Roulette, which I highly recommend. It changed everything for me, and it was created basically to talk about exactly how they genetically modify our food, and it hasn't changed much. We know a lot more about Roundup. We know a lot more about glyphosate, but I didn't know how glyphosate worked. I didn't know what BT bacteria was or BT toxin, and all of a sudden I was like, you got to be kidding me. By the way, GMOs are bad. Let's just don't eat GMOs, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just keep it simple.
Yeah.
So I became enamored with the human body, and this became the deep dive into really understanding health and wellness and really understanding these three main environments: what we put in our mouth, what we put on our skin, and what I allow to be kept in the air around me. Because that is how this vessel, Craig Goldberg, interacts with the world around me. It's the lotions and the potions and the toothpaste that I'm using and the food that I'm consuming, and of course what I keep in the air around me, which at the time was a lot of tobacco and cigar smoke, right? And now, of course,
Yeah.
it's essential oils and diffusers and right, some sage and some smudging and a couple other things. But it was, I mean, it changed everything for me. And it triggered this deep dive into really understanding the human body and really understanding what it means to live a healthy life and what it means to only put good things in the body, which is not possible, by the way. You're never going to be 100% at it. You're never going to be perfect.
Right.
We live in a
Right.
toxic world. And it's really death by a thousand cuts. So many of the things that we consume, and now you've got apps like Yucca, and right, you've got apps that will tell you
Yep.
the ingredients and what's going on, and
It's
like
good and with yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
cool to be able to scan a UPC code on the back
Yeah.
of a
I
product,
love
and
it.
it has somebody else that's
Love
like
it.
me. Like when going back to 2012, when me and my wife would go food shopping, like the new food shopping after we knew,
Yeah.
it was a 4-hour ordeal just to do a routine shop because we're literally
Yeah.
sitting on the floor, like reading the ingredient lists and then Googling them. Like, what
Mhm.
what is tetrahydrogenate?
And then you're looking at yeah, this long words, and you're just like, okay, yeah, exactly.
Researching every single ingredient, and it went on like that for years. Researching every single ingredient we put on our skin, we put in our mouth, or we allowed to keep in the air around us. And we walked away from a lot of scenarios and situations where I gave up cigarette smoke. If my friends were smoking, I just left. Hey,
Mhm.
I got feet. I'm out of here. Enjoy your smoke. I love you. I'll see you inside. And we began making better decisions. And when you start making better decisions, you start to feel better. And when you continue to feel better, like we just kept breaking these glass ceilings one after another. I was like, man, I didn't know I could feel this good. And then like
Mhm.
we'll change something else, and I'll be like, hey, that thing that was going on last week isn't happening this week anymore. I feel great. and you just continue on this making today better than yesterday, making tomorrow better than today. And before you know it, you are not even close to the version that you were just a few months or years ago. And feel fantastic. I just turned 45. I feel great. I feel stronger than I've ever felt. My
Yes,
body feels
nice.
better than it's ever felt. My skin feels better than it's ever. I do a lot of laughing and a lot of smiling. So I got these crow's feet, which I love. But like
Yeah,
I feel fantastic. And the best is yet to come. And as I sit here, I'm sitting in front of a red light, which you can probably see.
I
And
saw a little,
and
yeah,
I've
but
got
it's nice.
the natural outdoor things going on. And I'm the most important thing is sleep, which is ironic that I'm not getting it right now. And I track everything on my Whoop, and it tells me every morning like but you know what's really cool with all the things that I do, I'm actually blown away when I look at my sleep score still in the upper 90s, and I only got four and a
Mhm,
half hours of sleep last night. And that's because my deep sleep and my REM is such a high percentage because when I do lay down, I'm out instead of running around in light sleep and not getting that deep sleep. So shorter periods of time, because of all the things I do, I'm able to get that deep rest. And of course, I sound lounge during the day, and there's other things that I do as well. But um, yeah, there's just a lot. There's a
yeah,
lot to it, and I am a lifelong learner. So now I'm
nice.
consuming podcasts, and look, podcasts give us access to knowledge that otherwise wouldn't be available. I happen to be a science geek. I love reading the science and the journals and the peer-reviewed science that gets published with a grain of salt. One of the reasons why I love to read it is because I like to see the parameters of the research. I like to see
Mhm,
the data set. I like to see the hypothesis. I like to see what they're testing and how they're testing it, because most of the science and research that we are presented with is actually bunk. Most of it is
mhm,
not good science. And that's how I really got into this in the first place. And now we have access to Dr. Peter Attia and Andrew Huberman and your podcast,
mhm.
right? Like we just
Yeah,
have unbelievable access to information and some brilliant, brilliant minds that are giving information away for free. And yeah, you can buy their books and dig in, but it's really a remarkable world we live in today.
yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to all of it. I was gonna say Andrew Huberman was, like, first top of line, and Peter Attia is the other one that I listen to.
They're
Both of
great.
those are just, like, they're
They're great.
phenomenal,
Look,
and
Tim Ferriss, the 4 Hour Work
yeah,
Week,
Tim
right?
Ferriss,
Like those are
yes.
great
I
people to
listen to
mention.
Dr. Mark Hyman,
I
and
mean,
so,
great.
yeah, it's yeah. But I wanna kind of touch on, the sleep part, 'cause it's interesting that you say
Number
that.
one thing.
Um,
Number one thing.
Number one,
Yeah.
because I'll tell another story, a personal story, literally. So yesterday, like I've been, like I said, or before, we hit record, I moved, right? I moved beginning of this month. And since I moved, I have it, so I have a tracking device as well. And I haven't been in the 90s. Like I was always in the 70s, 80s, just because you're in a new environment and, things like that going on, and it's
Moving is
just
the
been
best,
catching
by
up
the
and
way.
catching. Right,
It's the best.
right. So and then I was traveling, and so it's just, I haven't gotten good sleep, and it caught up to me yesterday,
Yes.
and I was like, oh my god, I gotta, it's like literally 7:30 p.m. I'm like, I'm out,
Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Do it, girl. Yes.
I woke up 9 hours later, 98%.
Yeah. Hey, you're just out.
And I was literally the whole day bouncing off the walls with energy, feeling like, "Oh my god, I'm
You
back."
get it's
Like, it's
it's from
amazing.
our I was just looking at a meme. So my wife and I, again, with our daughter, we are struggling with our sleep. We're sleep training. She's
Yeah.
potty training at the same time, right? Like there's a lot going on.
Yes.
And all she wants to do is cuddle with somebody. She's adorable. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to cuddle with a 4-year-old who's like, Daddy, please don't go. I just want to cuddle. I'm like,
Yeah. Oh.
you really need to sleep by yourself. She's like, but you don't sleep by yourself. You sleep with mom. And I'm like, what do you say to that? Right? Like,
Touche.
I'm like, damn, you are smart and cute, and I
Smart.
love you, and that's
Yeah.
amazing, and please go to bed. Right? But like I just read a meme and it was like point of view how you feel after getting a good night's sleep when you've after you've been parenting for 10 years. And it's like, I'm back, baby. I feel it like I feel like myself, right? They're like the wife and mom are like the husband and wife are high-fiving. They're like, we're back, baby. And it's one of these movie, whatever, after they just made
Yeah.
big. Like that first night's sleep that you get, and by the way, my wife and I, we rotate where I'll take care of Harmony over the course of the night and she'll take care of her over the course of the night, right? So like she got a great night's sleep last night. I didn't get a great night's sleep last night. And like in the morning, it's like, hey babe, I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. You're such a good dad. And the same thing for her, right? Like
Yeah.
go team. So, we figure out and how we can weave those. And by the way, to your point, a move is a great example. I love doing two things. I love helping people move and I love picking up people at the airport. It's my two favorite things to do because most people
Okay.
don't like doing it and I just love doing it, right? There's something special about it.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
moving is just the best. It's so not fun. It's just miserable, right? But to our point right now, we
Yeah.
human beings are resilient and you can do anything on a sprint, right? How long is the sprint and how much do you have to do? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? Like I've had runs that are 30 days long where it's just I'm looking at my calendar and I've got something big going on every single day this month. If it's not at work, it's Harmony's school play and we have to prepare for it and rehearsals and whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
we can get really busy and to your point, it just catches up with you at one point and you're like, hey John, can't make it to dinner tonight. Yeah, I'm going to bed. And he's like, it's 5:30 and I'm like, I know. Body says sleep and a cup of coffee is not the answer, right? Because that's what we do. We stimulate with chocolate and coffee, right? Or caffeine or tea or whatever, and or junk food, right? Or like whatever your fix is, or sugar, right? A
Right.
donut, like whatever. And we stimulate our way through it. And that works for a short period of time. It can actually work for a long period of time. But at some point, it catches up. And you either see it in the data, right? I'm a data hound. I love it. Um, or or you just feel it, and it shows up when you do get that great night's sleep, and you're like, everything is brighter, right? Like I'll take. I love DoTerra. I'm a big DoTerra fan. They have their
Yeah.
Serenity capsules. They're absolutely phenomenal. I take two of those, and I am out. Valerian root for me
Yeah.
is great. Chamomile tea. Like I don't do these things every single night because I believe everything in moderation, including moderation, and I also believe not to do the same things. Like from a supplemental standpoint, it's why you can see I got a ton of supplements everywhere, and I just kind of I don't take the same thing every single day. I just kind of mix it up a little bit. Like that I'm back baby feeling is so good after that night's sleep. And you're just like, wait a minute,
Hmm.
wait a
We can
minute.
take on the world.
This is what it
Yeah.
feels like. But look, that's the same feeling as when you're calm and relaxed. It's the
Yeah.
same feeling as when you're not stressed and anxious. It's the same feeling as when you're cool, calm, and collected. Like you wake up on the right side of the bed like that, and there is nothing the world's going to throw at you. All of a sudden, the construction of your route to work that wasn't there yesterday, that's going to put you 15 minutes late, is like, you know what? It's beautiful outside. I'm just going to roll down the windows. I'm going to throw on this music track that I love. And I'm just going to jam out. I'm going to fire off a quick text. Hey, Judy, I'm running late. I'll see you in 15.
Yeah.
There's traffic. Maybe you send a picture of like bumper to bumper traffic in front of you, right? Like that guy at the line that's putting his code in, wrong. You're on your phone. You're making a phone call. You're talking to the gal next to you. You're just admiring the people section of a magazine you never read. Like whatever, right? You're just like, fuck it, I'll
Right.
make the best of it.
Right.
The other side is also true when you don't get that sleep and you feel miserable. And I'll give you a great example. 3 days ago, okay, I had a film crew here prepping the house Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Film crew was here. Monday night, I got a terrible night's sleep. And thank you. P.S. My daughter Harmony, I love you. You're fantastic, but I just did not get a good night's sleep. And I said to my wife in the morning, and I was miserable in the morning. I was crabby Craig. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't like
Yeah.
being crabby Craig. And neither does anybody in the household, and rightfully so. And And I had a not so great exchange with my wife, a not so great exchange with my daughter after waking up in her bed, and my daughter literally pushing me out of bed after I so patient. She had an earache. Like, don't get me wrong, I
Mhm.
was there for her, and I'm glad that I was there for her. But like,
Yeah.
I did not sleep well in her bed, and I woke up not so nice, and my wife woke up not so nice, and it was just that kind of morning. And I went into my room after. I was just like, I love you. I'm going to help with the whatever I can do, and I need a break. And I went and took a break, and I did some breath work, and I and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I went, Craig, I control me. I control how I show up. I don't like the way that I just showed up with my wife. I don't like the exchange. I don't like my side of it. I don't like her side of it, but her side of it is a reflection of my side of it. I took responsibility for it. I went back out there and I said, "Hey, honey, I'm really sorry about that. Um, yeah, I had a rough night's sleep last night, and yeah, Harmony's got an earache, and I don't know exactly what to do about that. And we're gonna figure it out together. I love you. I'm here, and I'm gonna show up as the best version of myself for you, for Harmony, for me, and for everybody else that I got to deal with today, because that's my decision."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that." And she took her guard down, and her edge deactivated. And then we watched our daughter's edge deactivate, who was dealing with this earache and everything else. And it was, by the way, we were playing our frequencies in the background. Like, there was a lot that was going on, but it was this magical moment of like, hey, regardless. And now I think about this for the last 3, 4 nights as I'm waking up, either refreshed or not. And I'm like, hey, I get to decide how I'm going to show up today. I control me. Same thing I'm saying to my daughter, by the way. Like, hey, you
Yeah.
control you. You can decide. I know you've got these emotions, these big emotions that you're feeling, and I get that. You get to control them. You get to decide how you're going to show up. And I'm like, man, I need this advice. And I took it. And it changes everything.
Yeah.
Up, either refreshed or not.
Because it's the vibe that you put out. It's the vibe. Literally, it's a
We
vibe.
are all
Whatever
reflections
you
of each
put
other.
out, exactly. You
Totally.
get
You
back.
want to fall in love? Start loving everybody. Fall in love with
Yes.
everybody you meet, and you will fall in love. You want people
Yep.
to love on you and show you gratitude and appreciation? Start showing love and gratitude and appreciation to everybody else, and it'll come right back to you.
Yep.
Right back to you tenfold.
100%.
You be crabby and bitchy and not nice to other people, and you just watch how crabby and bitchy and not nice the world becomes and turns on you. Same world, same people.
Hmm.
Hit them with a
Just,
smile and a
yeah.
thank you and a eye contact of, hey, you're awesome. I just want you to know I'm really grateful for what you just did. That was pretty rad. And that's what you start getting
Nice.
back.
Yep. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
InHarmony.
Yeah.
Talk to us about InHarmony. What is it, and how can it relieve the pain and the stress and the anxiety that we were just talking
All
about?
right. So everything that we were just talking about is all real. And I love that conversation. And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for this on so many different levels. And at the end of the day, sound and vibration changes everything. So we have these 10 pillars of health, and sound and vibration is one of them. It falls underneath a bucket called meditation, right? But those 10 pillars of health are a good night's sleep, grounding and sunshine, and exposure to sunshine, clean water, clean food from the earth, not from a box, meditation, zone 2 cardio, getting the blood moving, hot and cold therapy, red light, exposure to red light if you can't get sunlight, and cuddle time, skin on skin contact. Okay, 10 pillars of health, 10 things that we need to live a healthy life. Um, and there are other things that you can do, of course, but that list goes on and on. But those are kind of the most important things for me. Um, Sound and vibration is a shortcut to deep relaxation. So, um, I don't have my tactile transducer here because it's in the other room because we were filming. But we used tactile transducers, which is the technology that is included in what we do. So, InHarmony Interactive is all about using sound and vibration to reach deep levels of relaxation. And it's not something that you have to think about. So, something that I love to share. I know you're a big proponent of breath work. Breath
Mhm.
work is just breathing, by the way, and most of us are not breathing correctly, which is, it doesn't have to be this Wim Hof kind of lightheaded DMT activation. Like, just breathing. Andrew Huberman's got a great podcast on parasympathetic inducing breath work, and it's literally just a longer exhale than your inhale. A 4 count in, an 8 count out. do that for a minute and you're going to kick in your parasympathetic nervous system response. Like it's pretty remarkable. The breath controls the mind controls the body. Sound and vibration though overrides all of it. And all you have to do is make a decision to play music, and whatever music moves you, moves you. You could be a heavy metal gal. I don't know. Maybe you are. I don't. You don't look like a heavy metal gal, but I've said this to people, and they're like, "Actually, I love heavy metal." I'm like, cool. I bet when you listen to it, you feel invigorated and you feel incredible, and it might even be meditative for you. And they're like, "Yeah, it is." Right? Like, cool. Whatever music moves you, moves you. However, there's an entire genre of music called microtonal music that is specifically geared towards calming and relaxing your nervous system. And it's very similar to that of the throat and the larynx. This is the oldest musical instrument on the planet. Humans have been singing and dancing for all of humanity, jumping up and down, which help like they has to build up. It has to do with that zone two cardio of moving the lactic acid and moving the lymphatic system and doing all that. So sound and vibration. It's one thing when you're listening to it through a speaker. It's another thing when you are at say a nightclub or a concert, or more importantly, when you're laying on our relaxation furniture, which uses tactile transducers to present the body with specific vibrations in specific frequency patterns that help to calm and relax the nervous system. They have a whole bunch of other physiological benefits as well. But here I am 8 years ago. I'm stressed and anxious. I'm in New York. I'm sitting at my mom's bedside in a hospital. I get 3 phone calls from 3 friends that all tell me that I need to go talk to my now business partner, Dom, who's a friend of mine at the time, to go check out his new product called a sound lounge. And I said, okay, universe, I hear you knocking. I'll go see Dom. And I went to see him. And I laid down and I had my first sound lounge experience. And I was blown away. The waves of relaxation that came over me, the elation that I felt throughout my entire body, the floatiness that I felt, the lightness that I felt, this release of stress and anxiety that I had not felt in years. It was magical. And they figured it out. And I was kind of blown away by the experience. I bought one. The process of buying one was not so smooth. And that's kind of what I do. I'm operations, sales and marketing. I was like, Dom, do you need help? And he was like, oh yes, we need help. And I was like, great. How can I help? And when I started doing some business development work, I started helping them with marketing. And fast forward, I'm now one of the co-founders of the company and president. I kind of run it. And Dom and I are riding off into the sunset, loving each other with this incredible passion project that is helping thousands, if not tens of thousands of people around the world to feel their best through relaxation using sound and vibration. And there's so many different ways that we could talk about this and so many different layers of the onion that we can peel and look under, but I'll let you go from there.
Yeah, let's just, well, one of the things is basically, if you want to describe possibly the products that you have, if you want to go ahead and do that.
Sure. I don't know where my camera just went. Did my camera just disappear for you?
It did.
Cool. That's pretty awesome. So we'll just roll with that. The
Roll with
camera
it.
switched to Craig's iPhone, which is oh hi,
Okay.
and the
A little
microphone.
hiccup over here.
My microphone changed in front of me. Are we better now?
We're better. Yep. We're good.
Welcome back. I love technology. I'm a technologist. This is kind of what I do for a living, and it's just awesome.
Just got to go with the flow.
What was the question again, please?
So is the product, so you were talking about what it is, but what are the products that you
Totally.
have created? And if you want to kind of go through, because there's a cushion, there's a
Yeah.
table, if you want to also go through what's your favorite one, and then
Oh
talk
gosh.
maybe in addition, I know that
How much time do we have?
there's
Not a lot.
much time, but
I love it.
we'll just go through
Yeah.
a bit. If
Totally.
you
All right.
want to just, yeah, nail it
Yeah,
down.
totally. Look, I love that. All right, so we basically have five main products. Okay, we do a lot of things. We got merch, we got the things with the name, the logo, blah blah blah. But we got 5 main products. It started back in
Yeah.
November of 2016 with the InHarmony Sound Lounge. Different company name at the time, different brand, but it's same product. The InHarmony Sound Lounge. It's our largest. It's ergonomically designed, 4 tactile transducers, a 220 watt dual amplifier. All of our All of our technology is exactly the same, a blend of tactile transducers, high fidelity speakers, the option to plug in headphones, and amplifiers that power all of it. Think of it like a big speaker. That's not what it is, but it's a lot more complex than that. But it's also really quite simple. Um, and it's all the same concept. So we have the InHarmony Sound Lounge, which is like our Cadillac. It's our biggest unit. It's full body. It's incredible. You're laying down, you're comfortable, and it is an experience. Then we have two models that are built specifically for bodywork to augment bodywork, hands-on massage therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, chiropractic, that sort of thing. And that is the Practitioner 2, which is designed to go on top of your massage table. It's just a pad that goes on top, folds in half. It's super portable. And then we have an actual massage table that we make that has the built-in base, and we make this massage table from the ground up. Our transducers for the Sound Lounge 2, the massage table, and the Practitioner, and the meditation cushion, which we'll talk about in a second, we float the transducer in the foam. This translates all of the energy into the body. So all of the vibration is going to the user and the person that's laying on it or sitting on it. And what we realized through science and research and tracking these mechanisms and using EEGs and that echoencephalograph is tracking how your brainwave states are firing and how the synapses in your brain are firing. We realized that we are really knocking it out of the park when it comes to reaching deeper meditative states very quickly. Alpha, theta, delta, even up into gamma. Very, very quickly when you're laying on our tech. And so we designed our meditation cushion in June of 2020. And it was a hit. We did it in a go-go campaign. It's our smallest footprint. It retails for $6.99. It's a great introduction to vibration. It has two built-in speakers. It has one tactile transducer and amp built in. It's this beautiful little package that you just pick it up and you go. Plug it into the wall, pair it to your phone. It's great. So the Sound Lounge, the massage table, the Practitioner 2, and the meditation cushion. And then the fifth product is our app and the music meditations that we create, which drive the experience. And if you think of our furniture, our relaxation furniture, as a delivery mechanism for sound and frequency, well, then what sounds and frequencies are you playing? Now, one of the biggest delineations for us to a lot of the other folks in our space that are on the market. We can dive into the details if you want, but you can listen to anything you want through our technology. So that heavy metal that you don't love sounds and feels great actually through our technology. The
I'm
bass
sure.
guitar, oh man! And some of these heavy metal, musicians, their voice is so deep that you can actually feel that through the transducers too. I mean, it is an experience
Mhm.
for sure. Um, House music, hip hop, reggae. It all sounds and feels absolutely amazing. And then if you're not just on Spotify, we actually run a playlist. It's called Till the Last Note Ends. And it is contemporary music that sounds great through our technology. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Poison, Guns N' Roses, um, Elderbrook. There are some incredible musicians that are on there and some pretty eclectic music. And there's a Fugees track on there, right? Like there are so many different genres for so many different years of music that sound and feel amazing through our technology. And we have a full-time director of content creation. His name is Anthony Weiss. He's a 24-year musician. He's a sound therapist and plays live sound healings, right? Sound baths on a regular basis. And he also creates digital music. He's been creating music for us. So in our app, we have 176 what we call music meditations that are specifically designed to be played through our technology and mastered and optimized to be played through our technology. I think it's one of the largest vibroacoustic therapy music libraries out there. And there are some people that have been doing this for a long time. David Gibson, Stephen Halpern. I mean, there are some folks with some really big libraries. I'm pretty sure 176 is. I should probably check in with all of them and ask them what they have. But it's a pretty big library, and we're pretty proud of it. We add at least one or two music meditations every week. Sometimes we're adding 4 or 5, and and then we have our extended music meditations, which are free on our YouTube channel. So just search InHarmony Interactive, scroll down to our extended music meditation playlists, and that's what I'm streaming through my home all day long in the office. And at night, my daughter listens to frequencies while she sleeps or while she doesn't sleep, as I've been sharing with you. She used to be a really good sleeper. Like we used to put her down at
Uh,
7:30 and she would wake up at 7:30 the next morning, and then around 3 that all just changed dramatically, and we'll get back there.
yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That is amazing. And can and so my question then is, are these just at home? But you said the cushion, can you take that anywhere? How does this fare? Like, is it like yeah, and is it online only? How do
So
people basically get
our
it and
app is
use it?
on. We sell directly through our website. I am
Okay,
inharmony.com. I am being the two most important words in the English language for me because anything you put after it, you are. So why not be in harmony with the world around you? Right? I am
nice.
in harmony.
I like that.
And it's also
Yeah.
how we came up with the name of the company, which I thought was brilliant. I didn't come up with it. My business partner, Dom did. Bless his beautiful heart. And I just went, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. Um, so
Did you name your daughter after
nope.
this? Is that what it is?
Nope, nope,
No?
nope, nope. How cool is
Okay.
that? All right, so
Interesting.
here's a quick story that I don't
Yeah.
get to share that often. So
Yeah, please share.
3 months before we conceived, my wife woke up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning in our bed, and she woke up and she was kind of in tears, and she goes, "I met our daughter." And I go, "Are you telling me you're pregnant?" And she goes, "Nope, I'm not pregnant, but I had a dream and I was holding a baby and I looked down and the baby looked up at me and said, 'My name is not out loud, just kind of telepathically. She heard, 'My name is Harmony and I'm coming to see you.'" Remarkable. Okay. We don't
Goosebumps.
goosebumps for sure. Goosebumps. Okay.
Yeah.
I We don't tell anybody. Okay. We're not even pregnant yet. All right. We pulled the goalie. We
Right.
were trying, yes, but like we don't tell anybody. Not my parents, not her parents, not nobody. We then get pregnant. And then it comes time for us to change the name of our company from Holistic Health Science to something new. And I'm brainstorming with Dom, and he goes, "What about in harmony? Our products bring you in harmony." And he goes, "And the website I am in harmony is available." And I went, "Yes, that's a yes." Didn't tell him what the name would be. Didn't tell anybody. Okay. We told at this point he knew we were pregnant, but like, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Well, what names are you considering?" We're like, "Oh, we don't know yet." Like, "Oh, we haven't
Right.
really thought about it. We have
Right.
some options, right?" But we knew
Right.
before the ultrasound, I knew we were having a girl because of this experience. I just felt it. And when we had a girl, her name was going to be Harmony because she came and said, "My name is Harmony. I'm coming to see you." It gets so trippy. Okay. So we named the company in Harmony Interactive. We have our daughter. I name her. Dom's like, "Oh, that's cool. You named her after the business." And I'm like, "No." And I tell him the whole story and he's blown away, right? We're having this whole moment, this whole experience. So do you have kids?
No.
Okay. So a
No.
child's face from the time they're born, you might nieces and nephews or whatever, you're around kids, right? A child's
Yeah.
face when
Yeah.
you're around it every day, and I didn't know this, is changing every single day. Sometimes multiple times a day, literally, as they're growing and changing and expanding and shrinking, right? Like their face is constantly
Right.
changing. So my wife was sitting, this is going to actually get me pretty emotional because of just the last couple of days that I've had. But I will not forget where I was sitting when my wife was sitting in a chair holding my daughter. And she looked down and she went, "Craig, come here." And she called me over and she goes, "This is the face I saw." Wild. Okay. She was probably 4, 5 months old, something like that. And she goes, "Step around and look at this view because this is the face that I saw in my dream." Like she had deja vu, like she was taken right back there.
Oh my god.
Wild. Okay. So,
Whew.
okay. So,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So, how do you know you're doing the right thing in the world? How do you know you're in the right place?
Uh-huh.
Right. Like,
Yep.
whew, universe has been leaving me
Yeah, that's
breadcrumbs
right
and
there.
breadcrumbs and breadcrumbs that I know I'm doing the right thing. That's some powerful shit. Thank you, Harmony. I love you.
Ooh,
And
no, thank you. That was, yeah, I mean, that's people don't understand how powerful like the universe can be.
so here's
And
the cool
how
part to that point, and I love that you just said that.
yeah,
When you're stressed and anxious, you're not open to the signs of the universe. When
yeah,
you're calm and relaxed, that's when you start to let all the stars align. That's when
yeah,
all of these things start to click and you start to notice the things that you don't otherwise notice because you're so driven. That stress and anxiety, the cortisol and adrenaline, it keeps you hyper focused on a particular outcome. It keeps you focused on a particular task. That tunnel vision very often will eliminate the the noise is where you pick up on these downloads, I've noticed. And that's why when
yeah,
you get on the sound lounge, you have people get these what they call downloads. They have these visions, this clarity, these moments of reflection where they're like, "Oh, that's what I need to do in that situation. Oh, okay." And when you're calm and relaxed, that's when you have. So our technology is profound for these. You asked me what my favorite piece of technology is. And that's really hard to say because I use the meditation cushion for a quick tune up. The product I use the most is probably the Sound Lounge because it's the most enveloping, it's the most full body, it's the most intense, it's the strongest. But I get body work 2-3 times a month. Bless my beautiful heart on my massage table. I take my practitioner with me everywhere I go because it folds up into a massage table bag, and I just stick it in the back of my truck, it's so easy to set up. I just take it out of the bag. I plug the amp into the wall. I plug the 6 pin from the amp into the practitioner, and I'm ready to fire it up. So I take that with me to my friends' houses. I take that with me on retreats, and really anytime I drive in my car anywhere, I just
Mm.
hey, is it cool if I bring the practitioner? Yeah, totally, of course. Bring like nobody's like, nah, don't bring that over. We don't want to like
Right.
and we just throw it on
They
the
want to use it
floor. Yeah, of
too.
course. We just throw it on the floor. Look, you can connect it to your television and use it as a
Nice.
sub to watch movies. We've hooked
Nice.
4 or 5 of them up in my healing room and set a projector up on the ceiling. We watched Dune 1 and then went to the movie theaters and watched Dune 2. That was awesome.
Nice. Nice.
Ah, like I mean, the worms when they're coming through, like everything is just rumbling, and like you're like in it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, amplified.
Totally.
Totally.
So there's a lot of different use cases, and obviously, sound and vibration is a big part of everything that I do. But when you need that reset, sound and vibration will take you to the depths of that meditative state right away. And when we figured all this out with our meditation cushion, because we've shipped thousands of them now, and I get these text messages from, by the way, my phone number is at the top of my website. I'm one of the easiest people to get in touch with. And I get these phone calls all the time. It's like, hey, Craig, I just had to call and I can't believe, first of all, I can't believe I got you on the phone. Second of all, um, I just got to tell you, I've been meditating every day for 20 years, 20 minutes for 20 years. And I did not realize that I wasn't going deep as I could go. Because how do you know? Right? Even
Right.
as a meditation, if I'm a teacher of meditation, how do I know that you're meditating right? Yeah, EEG,
Right.
and you can use a Muse, and I've got this Vital Neuro, which is something that I'm checking out right now, which has a consumer EEG built into it. Yeah, there's some cool tech
Interesting.
out there that we can play with right now, right? Shout
Yeah.
out to Vital Neuro. There's some cool stuff that's out there.
And Muse, because I
Yeah,
use
Muse is
Muse.
awesome. Look, I'm a data hound, right?
Oh,
Like
I know.
I
Yeah.
love it. And we have more
Yeah.
tools to tell, but even that won't guide you there. Sound and vibration, full body vibration with music, it guides the body into that deep meditative state. You don't have to think about it. And by the way, it doesn't take any mental capacity to think about meditating. 8 years
Right.
ago, if you asked me to, 9 years ago, before we started this company, you asked me to go outside. Hey, Craig, it'd be really be a great idea if you just sat outside and just were still and just quieted the mind. Meditation is really important. You look at all of the biographies and autobiographies of some of those powerful men on the planet and women, and they all have a meditative practice built into their morning or evening routine or daytime routine, whatever. Right? These are all things that are really, really important. And 8 years ago, if you were like, Craig, meditation is really important, I can't do that. I can't do it. And now I can. And sound and vibration has taught me how to get there. And now I can reach that meditative state without the technology, without sound and music. When I am online at the checkout counter and that debit card's been used 6 times wrong, I can do that. So really powerful, and again, just super grateful. I just looked at the clock. My wife just walked in. I had a 1 o'clock appointment, so I've got to.
Oops.
Oops.
Okay.
I,
All
I just
right.
love this
Well,
conversation. I
that
just feel like we
I
need to do
know
this over and
we're
over again.
oh, we'll do a part
I
two.
can't wait.
Definitely.
Please,
Definitely. Definitely do a part
please,
two.
please,
Yes.
please.
But and actually, I was getting there to where you mentioned the website. If you would just want to mention it again, and yeah, and then we'll be on
All
our
right.
way.
So the easiest way to get in touch with me and the easiest way to think about it is getoncraigsbed.com. So yes, I told you our website, which is IamInHarmony.com. And if that's too
Right.
complex,
Right.
you can think about just getoncraigsbed.com. You'll find a splash page. It talks about our technology and what we do. Getoncraigsbed.com. And
That's funny.
it's a funny little a buddy of mine was like, you need the
I love
URL,
it.
get on Craig's bed. I want to get on your bed. I just got off Craig's bed. Like it was getoncraigsbed.com. Absolutely phenomenal. It will lead you to IamInHarmony.com and our website. And and I'm one of the most
Awesome.
tangible people on the internet. I would love to connect with you. I'm so grateful for our time together. I love you. I love your
Yes.
audience. And
Thank you.
yes, please, let's do this again. Good luck with your move and getting settled. And if I can help in any way, shape, or form along the way, because moving is stressful, please just ask. I would be honored.
Awesome. We can't be here in Indianapolis, but anything, maybe I'll get one of your products and that'll, I'll be in Zen.
Indeed. Indeed. I'm grateful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. As always, it's just a pleasure to talk with you,
Thank you.
and I'm feeling calmer each and every second that I talk. So,
Fantastic.
thank you for being here again, Craig, and to my audience. Hopefully, you enjoyed this conversation, and you have a wonderful day. Take care.